Here we go. Good morning, everyone. I'm calling this meeting to order at 9:35. Thanks for being here this morning. My name is Brendan Frank. I am the new chair of the Public Art Committee. We're going to do a quick roll call to confirm committee member attendance. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and say present. Jason Whooper. Not present. Linda Caballero Sotelo. I think I got that right. That's a no. Commissioner Fritz Friedman. Negative. Anthony Graham.
Present.
Thank you. Hello, good morning. Melinda Gian.
Guillen, present.
Gian,
Hello.
thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
so
Guillen.
much. Yeah. Be patient with me. I'll get there. Larry Herzog, very nice to see you, my friend.
Present. Nice to see you too.
On Jung Park.
Present.
Doreen Schonbrunn. Hello,
Present.
Doreen.
Hello. Present.
Tiffany Wei-Ying Bears. Not present. Okay. Thank you. Your attendance has been noted. Also joining us today is Commission for Arts and Culture staff, including Chief of Civic Art Strategies, Christine Jones, Senior Public Art Manager, Chuck Miller, and Civic Art Project Manager, Dr. Laura Bullock. Before we get into today's agenda, I'm going to call on Chuck Miller to run down some of the guidelines for today's meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Frank. A reminder that this Zoom meeting that this is a Zoom webinar and members of the public may join the meeting as webinar attendees to provide virtual non-agenda and agenda comment in real time. A reminder to note the buttons on the control bar at the bottom of the Zoom window to mute and unmute and turn the camera on and off. Please remember to stay muted when you are not talking and to unmute yourself when you speak. Please keep your chat window open at all times as you will be using the chat to signal when you'd like to speak. Please refrain from using the hand raising indicator and instead type speak in the chat window for the record, and the chair will acknowledge requests in order. And finally, a reminder to please refrain from using the chat for anything other than signaling that you'd like to speak in order to comply with the Brown Act. Thank you, Commissioner Frank. I'd also like to note for the record that Tiffany Bears and Fritz Friedman have joined the meeting.
Welcome to both of you. Okay, item 2, we've got non-agenda public comment. Well, the public was invited to submit public comment on agenda and non-agenda items via a web form accessible through the agenda and the Commission's website. Members of the public may also join this meeting as webinar attendees. If members of the public have submitted comments in writing via the web form, staff will read aloud public comments submitted per city public comment protocol. I will call on Chuck to read aloud any non-agenda public comment or to call on any attendees who would like to provide comment. Chuck?
Thank you, Commissioner Frank. There was no non-agenda public comment submitted in writing. For those members of the public in attendance, please click the hand raise button to indicate that you would like to comment, and I will enable you to speak and send you a prompt to unmute yourself in order. When I call your name, please state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to provide comment, after which you will be placed on mute again. If you are joining via phone, please press *9 to raise your hand. I will call on you by the last 4 digits of your phone number. When I call on you, press *6 to unmute yourself. Please raise your hand now if you would like to provide non-agenda public comment.
Thank you, Chuck. Okay, let's move on to item 3.
None.
Can anybody see my hand?
I don't see it, Doreen. Oh, that hand. There's a raise hand function. Oh yeah. Yes, Doreen. Okay, are we moving on?
Yes.
Doreen, you're muted.
I just want to make a quick comment before we start.
Sure.
Okay, I just wanted to share with you that I met with one of our sculptors that was given a grant at Helen Browning Scripps to do a sculpture at Helen Browning Scripps in La Jolla, the park. And we looked over and we decided, and I told her that we need more light, and she's doing mirrors. And in conversation, something truly wonderful happened. She shared with me that she has a sculpture that is in Vegas. It's 14 by 14. It was in Burning Man.
Mhm.
And I suggested that maybe we contact UCSD, where I'm also involved in the arts there. And it looks like they're going to put that sculpture on their campus for her. So I just wanted to share.
Very good. Thank you for that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move on then. Thanks, Doreen. Item 3, chair's reports. A, commission business. As the Public Art Committee did not meet in January, I have no updates pertaining to the public art from the commission at this time. To those committee members who are slated to term off the Public Art Committee, I'd like to thank you for your continued service while new appointments of committee members are finalized, which we anticipate in the next few months. I hope that was clear. Okay. We've got an action item, the December 8th Public Art Committee meeting minutes. I hope everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from December 8th. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes as they are?
I so move. It's Fritz.
Thank you, Fritz. Good morning. Do we have a
Morning.
second?
I so move.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Where are we now? Is there any discussion? If you would like to speak, please type speak in the chat window. By the way, guys, I'm still getting used to this format, so that's why it's so wooden. Okay, so it seems that there's no discussion, so we can now take a vote. So I will call your name and you will respond out with yay, nay, or abstain. Remember that you do not need to have been present at the December meeting to vote or discuss. Okay, Commissioner Jason Whooper, absent. Linda Caballero Sotelo, also absent, right?
No,
Oh.
here.
Oh, I'm sorry, hi.
Hi. Yay.
And? Did we get a vote from her?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Fritz Friedman, he's absent. Anthony Graham.
Fritz has joined us.
Oh, I'm so sorry. See, I'm having
Yeah.
trouble here, guys.
You're
Thanks
doing
for your
great.
patience. Fritz,
Yes. Hi. Yes.
thank you. Good morning. Where'd I
Good
go?
morning.
Anthony Graham,
Yay.
fabulous. Melinda,
Yay.
Larry Herzog,
Yay.
Anjun Park,
Yay.
Doreen Schonburn,
Yay.
Tiffany Bears.
Yay.
And my vote is a yay. Thank you. Chuck, please read any public comment from this item that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees who would like to provide comment for this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Frank. No comment was received in writing for those members of the public in attendance. If you would like to provide comment on this agenda item, please click the hand raise button now. I am seeing none.
Seeing none, let's move on to item 4. Action item, the final artwork proposal for Mira Mesa Community Park by Kate Clark. We'll start with conflict of interest disclosures. The recommendation affects contracts with artist Kate Clark. Please assess whether you have any conflicts to disclose when I call your name. When I call your name, if you have no conflicts, state no conflicts. If you do have a conflict, please recuse yourself from the discussion and voting on the action item. Okay, so Commissioner Jason Whooper. Linda Caballero Sotelo.
No conflict.
Fritz Friedman.
No conflict.
Anthony Graham.
No conflict.
Melinda?
No conflict.
I'm sorry, Melinda, I'm skipping your last name because I'm just learning it and my little cheat sheet isn't next to it.
Oh yeah, it's Guillen.
Guillen, thank
Yeah.
you, Guillen, okay,
Yeah.
appreciate that. And look forward to when we can all meet in person because that's really like the preference and I'm hoping that that happens soon. Larry Herzog,
No conflict.
On June Park,
No conflict.
Dorian Schonbrun,
No conflict.
Tiffany Ying Bears.
No conflict.
I do not have a conflict myself. Thank you. I'd now like to call on Chuck to provide an overview of the proposal and staff recommendations and introduce Kate to present the proposal.
Thank you, Commissioner Frank. So this is the action item for today is the final artwork proposal for the Mesa Community Park by artist Kate Clark. And I have this graphic up just to remind you of the steps in the artwork development process. We are on the second to last step now in this graphic where the city is approving the final design. This recommendation will be carried to the commission and the commission's recommendation will be given to the executive director to accept the public art proposal. Thereafter, Kate will begin fabrication and will begin coordinating installation in the future. So the Public Art Committee's role in this process, we are at the circle where we're going to make a recommendation on the artist's final proposal. Next slide, please. So the Mesa Community Park Phase 2 improvements are major improvements to an existing park, kind of at the core of Mesa. And in this image, you can see the location of the park in kind of a more regional context. Next slide, please, Lara. And so here is the park more specifically located. It's in the kind of upper right-hand quadrant, kind of just beneath the where you can see kind of the baseball diamonds, which comprised the phase 1 of the Mesa Community Park improvements. And phase 2 will include new landscaping and a sort of complete redesign to the plaza area in the park, as well as new athletic fields, a new aquatic center, a new skate park. Artist Kate Clark has been commissioned to produce site-specific artwork for the phase 2 improvements. Her contract is to design, fabricate, and transport and consult during the installation of the artwork by the city. So Kate's project has been provided feedback by this committee in the preliminary idea form back in July of 2020. And the schematic proposal for this project was given feedback by this committee again in December of 2020. So our role today will not be so much to give feedback in the development of the artwork. However, will be to provide a recommendation based on the final design that Kate will be updating us on today. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Kate to present how the project has evolved to this point.
Thanks, Chuck. And thank you all for being here. It's so nice to see your faces. I wish that we could be in person, but this is great too. And it's pretty wild to see that the last time we were together was in December 2020. That feels like a lifetime ago, but to be honest, I actually do think that amount of time was really needed for this project. And And to see that graphic of that staircase to where we are now, it's actually very satisfying because, as you know, these projects take so long that it's like, where are we in this galaxy? So there is progress, though, of course, once there's approval, then that staircase is going to explode into like 2,000 steps. But anyways, let me share with you where we're at with the project. Yeah, my name's Kate. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm the lead artist of Parcheology, which is a public art project that started in Balboa Park. Now I've had the opportunity to work on some permanent public art commissions, including this one. And as you all are familiar, we are working in Mira Mesa Community Park. And before I go any further, I do want to say, I'm not sure if they're here because I can't see the public attendance, but I think that some collaborators are here on the project. So I just want to say hi to Wen and Jaylani and Tara, if you're here. But so here we have the area of Mira Mesa Community Park that is going to be redeveloped. And when thinking about what to do in this area, one beloved structure that was going to go away, what you see here is this overview of this gazebo area. This is familiar to a lot of you, so I'll kind of move through quickly. Here we have the drawings from Platt Whitelaw for this area to try to emphasize creating kind of like a hub dynamic of movement to create more concentration of community activity in this area of the park. And initially they had proposed kind of a rudimentary, straightforward shade structure to replace the gazebo that was right here. And with speaking with Rizal Javier, who lives in the area, she was saying that, that gazebo people, DJs would use it. Callie who was involved with this project, had her baby shower at this location. It's a really important spot. And so just as a reminder, even though we have these important spots, even in 1971, this is what this area looked like. So Mira Mesa has gone through a lot of transformation. And with this transformation that we have with this new development of the park, which is exciting, we also want to think about what potentially gets erased or what gets changed and how we want to retain and emphasize, the heart of this area and what people find important to it. And so one of the most amazing things that I find about Mira Mesa Community Park is, as you saw from that plan view of the neighborhood, it really is the one like circular core heart of the neighborhood. And you see that in terms of the activities. Actually, this coming weekend, there's the Tet Festival for the Lunar New Year, which you all are welcome to come if you're vaccinated. There's also Diwali that has occurred there, a huge 4th of July event, Filipino Sun Festival. I think they're planning to happen again as well. So, so much occurs in this very condensed area that I think that festival nature is a really exciting part of the park. And the celebration of the Lunar New Year as an important aspect of what's happening in this location. So as a reminder, when we last met, this is where I was at with an idea to create a shade structure that also became kind of an environment, a space that you would want to spend time in, that through water jet panels would make shadow drawings, and what these drawings would be generated through community workshops. And so since we last met, that's what we've been working on. as well as the design, developing the actual design of the structure. So this is what the structure looks like now. And just to say, I've been tentatively calling it the Shadow Grotto, but I think that name is going to change. I'm not sure what the name is, and I think that really is more of a conversation now with folks that have been involved in the project. So just to point that out. But a big element that has changed in terms of how the actual structure is made, thanks to architect Tara Shi. Initially, we were thinking of having like rectilinear plate steel that kind of cinches together like pieces of paper, and then a circle shape gets cut out. But then really thinking about how the structure of fans are made, where it's triangles that are fitted together that naturally become a semicircle. It kind of all started to fit together in a much more functional and actually economic way to design this. And since we want this to be a cooling space, it's an incredibly hot area in the middle of the day. The concept of a fan also made sense, as well as it kind of referencing like a seashell or a leaf or whatever. But the shape of it started to come a lot more together as we started developing that. And another thing that we shifted is the orientation of it. So in order to capture the most shadows as possible, since we want it to be a shaded environment in this area that's only going to get more hot over the decades. So this approach is how you would enter the space, kind of walking up through this like main corridor. So instead of approaching a wall with entrances, you approach kind of like this open space already, which then creates on the backside kind of a cool wall / backdrop for people who are sitting at the picnic tables. For the floor plan, we are going to have some benches incorporated, and all of this project, as a reminder, really started with a conversation with Rizal Javier, who's the director of the Aja project. Rizal was talking about when growing up in this neighborhood that the baseball dugouts were the one place she felt kind of secure in, or as a teenager hanging out after high school. And so trying to think of an environment that both felt like a private space, but also kind of open and permeable at the same time, was influenced by these early conversations where Rizal also mentioned, as a dance group, always looking for shaded area when they were practicing. So from the last time we met, one really great bit of feedback was to consider consulting with a feng shui consultant, which I'll get into a little bit later, as well as to think about how the pigment of the concrete will relate to the pigment in the metal. We had a lot of other later feedback that I'll get into from community discussions. So this summer, after planning throughout the whole of last winter, we launched a workshop series with Aja. And the Aja Project, if you're not familiar with them, are a really wonderful organization that are really focused on participatory storytelling and civil rights through documentary arts. And we started with online meetings, and that eventually led into shaping a community art fellowship that was for local teens in Mira, Mesa, that offered them a $500 stipend to participate in a week long of programming that was led by Maria Rios Mateo-Daikis, and Beto Soto was also a huge role in that. And basically for a full day, every day for 5 days, We spent time in the park, we learned about what was going on, and we did workshops to generate imagery for this structure. And so here is the amazing crew that got involved with it. It was such a fun time. I wish it could have lasted for a month instead of a week. And so we have me, Maria, Jaylani, Wen, Thomas, Rylan, Beto, Bella, Callie, and then Rizal and Cheyenne. And Christy Lynn was also a really big in helping to get this event, this fellowship off the ground. So we talked about the actual design of the structure. And as we were talking about that, we, doing our workshops in the existing gazebo, the plan that I had before, we realized the footprint of it was just too small. We really needed to make sure that the square footage was the same of the existing gazebo. We did a lot of community building, and then we did a lot of drawing and testing of shapes and how they would translate into shadows and what types of cutouts would be interesting to incorporate. So here are some examples. We did a stamp workshop. This is Jaylani's drawing that's now in the, all of these elements are now in the design as we have it. Ryland's clouds and Wen's dandelions. In the evening, we wanted to influence from like a broader perspective about knowledge of the past, present, and future of Mira Mesa and Kumeyaay territory, with having evening events that then could be open to the community. These were all hosted online for that week. So we had sort of day sessions and then evening sessions that the fellows then would join online. So we had Mira Mesa, a community roundtable. We had a dance workshop with Jay Carlon. We had a natural history session with Bradley Salyuk. That was really interesting. Michael Connolly spoke about Kumeyaay cosmology and has also given permission to incorporate some of those astrological features in this design. We had then the next day an astronomy meetup, and then finally a cyanotype workshop. So it was packed, it was busy. We were exhausted at the end, but it was really, really wonderful and rich. And here's just a slide of the astronomy meetup. About 60 people showed up, all from Mira Mesa. It got advertised with the library too. So a lot of people came that we didn't know. So interesting crossover folks. Here's a slideshow of the community roundtable. And so from that, the fellows developed a general direction for how they wanted the storytelling to go, which was they wanted the ground plane, the vertical wall element to be a place for terrestrial dwellers, and for the ceiling plane to be a place for sky celestial dwellers. And that anything on this hinge area would sort of be creatures that could transition between these two environments or plant life. So yeah, lots of different notes about that, wanting to have kind of a grand entrance, combining creatures from Chinese and Filipino culture, incorporating sort of mini stories and interactions with the cutouts, referencing changing time. So this is what the drawings look right now. And it's about, I'd say 85 to 90% complete. And so with final approval, we would finalize all of these drawings. This is just one element. For example, Bella has been working on a drawing of a sari manok, which we still are working on incorporating. She spent a lot of time thinking about making sure that this illustration is really meaningful to Filipino culture. And similarly, Jaylani, who I think is here, is adapting some butterfly drawings. So we're still in the process of fine tuning everything, but this is sort of the big direction that we're at right now that's very close to being finished. So we continue to meet online after meeting in person as people could join, because some folks are in college now, others are still in high school. So as we'd have meetings with Tara Shi, architect designer, they'd have an opportunity to meet her and learn about changes and make recommendations. And then also when we had a meeting in terms of discussing color, again with Jessie Kim, the feng shui consultant, that was a really interesting conversation. And basically what Jessie suggested was there's a lot of movement and physical activity, a lot of young activity. And so she recommended having cooling colors more on the green, blue, purple part of the color wheel. And since we already have a lot of landscaping, green and sky, blue, it kind of naturally went in the direction of lavender, which I've never worked with lavender before. But we chose a color that is right between the kind of red shifting and blue shifting on the spectrum. So depending on what's going on temperature wise for the rest of the day, the color will hopefully change also throughout the day. We chose a blue as sort of a mirror to the sky, as well as understanding that based off of recommendations from this group as well, that pigmented concrete, there's no way that it will ever echo the tone of painted metal. So you might as well just work with something separate. And with that, you get some interesting dynamics where the shadows will hopefully combine and make a third color between the blue and purple. So here's just an example of the color shift of going more towards sunset, 12 p.m. is incorrect. That's more like 5 p.m. And then at nighttime, we'll have another dynamic where the space will kind of hopefully become more like a stage. And so we'll have linear LED lighting embedded in the ground that will kind of wash up across the structure and create a cool new dynamic where the drawings go black. More, and then your body starts to combine as a silhouette more in interesting ways. So we're also still continuing working with the idea of including prisms embedded in it. So during the day when it's super sunny, we have some cool rainbow dynamics, hopefully. And then here's just a few details of the color shifts and light shifts throughout the day. And as well as interactions with the openings. So here's just a quick image of maintaining square footage. And, just some general, this is familiar to some of you, of various spatial orientations. There's a Tai Chi group that meets in the park and yoga group. So wanting to have a space to accommodate that. As well as this environment will be rentable space. So we want it to be a nice environment for people to have parties or baby showers. And then just as an example for materials, we'll be using water jet steel, which you'll be familiar with from the San Isidro Library Project by the De La Torre brothers. And then here's an example of what pigmented concrete looks like when you're using a white sand mix as compared to a tan sand. So with the blue color, it will get much more saturated. Here it's still even a little bit pale than if you're using a tan sand. And Chuck has been really wonderful and supporting the difficult conversations of how that when you're working in a big construction project, who handles what parts of a ground treatment, for example, with concrete. So I just wanted to thank Chuck for his support with that. With consultation from an art conservator, she recommended we change our paint to working with Tnemec, which is great. Tnemec is a super heavy duty paint that handles abrasion a lot and is very, very weather resistant. It was designed for water tanks. So you can see here just an example of how in 20 years, there's very little change of this water tank that's in Hawaii. So I think this will be a really good choice for this piece since it's going to be placed between two playgrounds. There's going to be lots of movement and touch in that location. And then just to say, I'm kind of thinking about how Calder's pieces handle with restoration over time, that they can handle a lot of repainting. And it's recommended by Tnemec, that they can last, the pieces can last up to 30 years in the field without needing to be, fully scrubbed down and repainted. So here's just some info about the lighting fixtures and the treatment for that, how they'll be installed. And then just to say briefly, we're very aware of ADA concerns with entrapment. And so we've been very scrupulous about that, working with Tarashi and then the Parks Department. So that's a continued conversation to make sure that all of those concerns are addressed, as well as accessibility concerns, making sure that all of our thresholds are easily navigable by all. As well as the entrances themselves. So we're going to have this kind of grand entrance area that multiple people could walk through, as well as some that are designed specifically for kids. So it is segregated for children only. And then, yeah, that is just planning the actual process of installation and when it will occur. So that is everything. If anybody has any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. Should I stop sharing my screen?
I think we could go back to the recommendation, Lara. So I believe that was the next slide in the main presentation.
The recommendation?
Or,
Says
I'm
I
sorry.
cannot share unless participant unshares.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hold on. There.
So yeah, just to thank you so much for that presentation, Kate. And so I'll just read the staff recommendation and then I'll hand it back to Vernon. So to recommend to the City of San Diego Commission for Arts and Culture that the executive director of the commission accept the final artwork proposal by Kate Clark in fulfillment of the City of San Diego's collecting mission, collection scope, and accession criteria. As established in all the details you can read there. So with that, I'll hand it back to Commissioner Frank.
Thank you, Chuck, and thank you, Kate, for the presentation. Really tremendous effort on the outreach and connection from top to bottom on this project. I'm coming into it late, but I got an overview the other day and then again today, and it's really well done. Fabulous job. I will now request any public comment for this agenda item. Chuck, please read any public comment that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees who would like to provide comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Frank. No comment submitted in writing. To those members of the public in attendance, if you would like to provide comment on this item, please click the hand raise button now. And I am seeing none.
Thank you, Chuck. Would anyone like to make a motion to recommend to the commission that the executive director accept the final artwork proposal in fulfillment of the city's collecting mission and scope? If you would, please type speak on the chat window and verbally state your name and make your motion. Anjun Park,
I move to recommend to the City of San Diego Commission for Arts and Culture that we accept the final art proposal by Kate Clark in fulfillment of the City of San Diego's collecting mission, collection, and scope.
fantastic. Motion acknowledged. Would anyone like to second that?
I entered
Tiffany?
speak, so I'll second it, I guess.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, I'm still figuring out how this all works. Thank you. So we've got a motion and a second. Let's see. Is there any discussion? And I'm monitoring chat window. Anjun Park says speak. So Anjun Park.
I just want to congratulate Kate for surviving this odyssey from beginning to end. It was
Mhm.
odyssey, and particularly especially because it just want to commend her for her being so culturally responsive to her socially engaged art practice. It was just stunning. So I just wanted to extend my congratulations.
No doubt, no doubt. Thank you for that. Let's see, who's next? Tiffany? Is that right? Oh, no, Melinda, I think, right?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to echo congratulations, Kate. This was one of the projects that I was on the selection panel for, and just to see the development, both logistically, also just the sophistication of the way that you work with communities cannot be understated. Like, this is amazing. And also just, aesthetically, it's wonderful. And as Filipina, it's maganda. Excellent.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I think she killed it. But I'm not supposed to say that. Let's see. Okay. Any further discussion?
I have
right,
a
well,
question.
Okay.
How long will this project take to create?
To construct.
Yeah, to construct.
Can I answer? Do I have to say speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so great question. It'll take about 1.5 years. But the construction schedule itself is, we have to fit it within their time frame, and that won't be figured out until the summer. So
I'm sorry, who's there?
City.
the
The
Cloud
city?
White Law, what they have to go out to bid to the construction teams, to the contractor, who then will determine the construction schedule. So but just to say 2024.
Okay.
I'll just
Yeah, Chuck, go ahead, please.
I'll just moreover, because this project is commissioned to be incorporated with the capital improvement project, the Mira Mesa Community Park Phase 2 improvements. The schedule for fabrication and installation of the public artwork is closely coordinated with the design and construction schedule of the overall park. And yeah, as Kate mentioned, they're anticipating going to bid for construction this summer. And then it will be approximately 1.5 to 2 year construction schedule, starting either in late 2022 or early 2023. So we'll be working from there in terms of when the artwork is ultimately installed.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, we will now take a vote. I will call your name and you will respond out loud with yay, nay, or abstain. Jason Whooper is not here, right? Linda,
Yay.
Rich Friedman,
Yay.
Anthony Graham,
Yay.
Melinda Guyen.
Yen, yay.
Yen. I need a cheat sheet. Thank you for your patience.
Yay.
Guyen, yeah. Larry Herzog,
Yay.
Anjong Park,
Yay.
Doreen Schonbrunn,
Yay.
Tiffany Bears,
Yay.
and my vote is a yay. Thank you. Okay, item 6, reports. I'd like to call on Christine Jones to provide the staff reports.
Thank you, Commissioner Frank. So first of all, good morning. It's nice to see everybody. And I guess this is the first time we're meeting for this year. So happy belated New Year. And I guess to all of you. With that, we just have a couple staff updates. So let's go to the next slide. So one of those is that there's more artwork now to see in person in San Ysidro. So as some of you might know, Wendell Kling's artwork, which is part of the Here Comes the Neighborhood San Ysidro initiative, is newly installed. So if you recall, this is the artwork that is installed kind of on the exterior walls and facade of the Civic Community Building down in San Ysidro. It's located in the San Ysidro Community Park, which is along kind of the 200 block of West Park Avenue, if you're down there. And really, it serves now as kind of a new visual marker and really is enhancing the exterior of the building. And it is, there are lights at night too. So it is kind of a fun experience to drive by and see this beautiful glowing frieze up there at night as well. So more to come in San Ysidro with Here Comes the Neighborhood. So we'll be briefing you more on those projects that are still in development at a later time, but really excited about Wendell's artwork down there. And it's, he doesn't have a title yet, so we'll let you know what the title is once he's determined the title for the work itself. So let's go to the next slide. And then the other kind of update we have for you today is that artists Ingram Ober and Marisol Rendon Ober, who are, many of you know, local artists here in San Diego. They are commissioned to create a permanent site-specific artwork for Byer Park, which happens to be in San Ysidro as well. So San Ysidro is getting a lot of exciting new public art installations. So this is early in the process for Byer Park. So we're hosting a Meet the Artists virtual event on February 16th. It'll be in the evening at 6:30. So we'll share the link in the chat. So I encourage you all to come. You'll learn a little bit more about their practice and learn a little bit more about the park and share any insights you might have about San Ysidro or the communities in that area. And so that will be happening soon. So again, we'll share that with you. And just to clarify, this is a public art project associated with the city capital project for the development of Byer Park down in San Ysidro, which will be at the terminus of Byer Boulevard down there. So more to come on that as well. So that really concludes our updates for you both today.
All right. Christine, thank you for the report. Are there any committee member reports? If so, please type speak in the chat box. Seeing none, you agree, Chuck?
Great. So if there is any public comment for this agenda item from members of the public in attendance, please press the hand raise button now. No comment was submitted in writing, by the way.
Okay. Looks like we're just about wrapped up. Is that right, Chuck? Is this where we are? Thank you, committee members. Yeah. As a reminder, by the way, great job today and congratulations on passing on moving this project forward. It's wonderful. A reminder that our next public art committee meeting will convene on Friday, March the 4th. This meeting is adjourned at 10:24. Well done. Happy Friday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Good job, Vernon.
Thank you. See See y'all soon.
Hi,
Thank you, everyone.
everybody.